Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and these are the hottest Golden Age comics for the week. The first comic on the list, number 10, is Freelance number 34. And this is actually what I would classify as Steal of the Week, it's one of these sales I'm not 100% sure about. So I'm going to get into it in a second, but it's from Anglo-American Press Publications, I should say, from 1946. It's a Canadian white. What most people don't realize about Canadian whites is they're not all like these monocolor comics. Canadian whites, for the most part, and the reason they were called Canadian whites is they were done in black and white. But there are some with colored covers. So a lot of the time when people see these, they think, oh, it's not a Canadian white. Well, this is a Canadian white, even though it has colored cover. Excuse me. But it's a cool cover with Freelance fighting the dreaded Super 6. And they're all like these hooded figures. Very cool cover. So Canadian white, and this sold for so cheap. It's insane. It sold for, it was a CBCS copy, 2.5, so low grade. But a lot of the Canadian whites were very poor paper, so 2.5 is actually not a bad grade. Because the paper quality was so bad. But it sold for $49.95. We'll say $50 or best offer. Now I couldn't find out what that best offer price was, if there was somebody that actually got a better offer than that. But even at $50 for a graded copy of a Canadian white, it seems really cheap. There were actually no previous sales for this grade. There's actually none on the census. So the CGC census for this book is 0. The CBCS census is 1. so it's like it's a ghost of a book, and for $50 seems like a real steal to me. I just thought it was an interesting one. I'd like to know more about it because I couldn't find any data except for on Go Collect. It showed that it was a best offer, but didn't say how much the offer was. So just an interesting one. That's number 10 on the list. Number 9 on the list is Nellie the Nurse, number 8. And actually I was debating about putting this one on the list because it's one that I really like. I still haven't found a copy of it. And this is from Timely, 1947. It is like really great Good Girl art cover, with like a doctor, and he's kind of checking out Nellie and he's dropping all this stuff on this mummified patient. Even the mummified patient doesn't seem to mind. He's checking out Nellie as well. So it's very cool Good Girl art cover. And this era, 1947 to 1949, is really the peak of the Good Girl art covers. And Timely was really all in on Good Girl art. They had over, I think 16 titles they had on that were Good Girl art titles. Nellie the Nurse, Tessie the Typist, Millie the Model. They just had so many of these Good Girl art comics. And Nellie the Nurse is kind of a fun one. So this was a 5.5 that sold, and it sold for $299.99, or we'll say $300. So very, very good sale for this book. There was a previous record set back in October of 2018 for this book for $384, so it is down from that previous record. However, the most recent sale for this grade was $264. So this is up slightly from the last sale, which happened in November of 2020. So slightly up. It's kind of recovered, I guess, from that drop. Now, there's only 5 of these on the census, and all of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 8 on the list is Women in Love. This is a Ziff Davis cover from 1952. It's a Victor Olson cover. And it's a big book. It's got 100 pages in it. It has like this painted cover that's kind of very pulpy feel, like sort of the farmer's daughter and the hayloft kind of look to it. Very interesting cover. I'd never seen this one before, and I just thought, wow, this is such an interesting looking cover. This was a 6.0 that sold, and it sold for $1,999.99. We'll round it to 1,100. So for $1,100. Now, this was the highest sale for this book in any grade. The highest previous sale was for an 8.0, which sold for $720 in 2022. So this is a massive sale for this book. There was no previous 6.0 sales, so really I only have that 8.0 sale to compare it with, and this is a big sale. I mean, what can you say? It sold for $300 or almost $400 more than the higher 8.0 grade had sold, which is the highest grade for this book. So very strong sale. There's only 10 of these on the census, and 9 of them are Universal Blue Labels. So number 7 on the list is Horrific number 4. This is a Comic Media 1953 comic, and with a Don Heck cover. It has got the classic shrunken head on a pike with flames, and it's just very cool book. Inside, it actually has some more kind of golden age PCH collectability elements, because it has some bullet in the head panels, which are, very golden age. So that all those reasons, it's a very pricey book. And this was a 5.5 that sold, and it sold for $1,200. Now, the previous record for this book was set back in February of 2019 for $1,800, but it had since this book had kind of dropped in price because the most recent sale before this sale was in January of 2023 for $780. So it's sort of semi-recovered from that initial drop that it experienced in 2023. So it's kind of recovering, this one. Number 6 on the list. Oh, sorry. Before I get that, there's 45 of these on the census, and 43 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 6 on the list is All Top Comics number 11. This is from Fox, 1948. It's maybe a Matt Baker cover. It does not say who did the cover, but it looks like his style. It also contains Phantom Lady story inside, and it's got a Rula cover. Just a really great sexy girl on the cover book, a jungly girl. This one was interesting because it was an 8.0 pink pager. Now, if you're familiar with Fox Featured Syndicate, pink pages means that it is white pages, because they used very cheap paper, and the cheapest paper that Victor Fox could find was pink paper. So often you'll get this kind of weird color bleed of the paper through the inks, where you'll get these weird pink spots on the comic, and that's actually means that it's the pink paper coming through. It's very odd, but that means it's high quality for Fox. I don't know how to explain it, but this was an 8.0 pink pager, and it sold for $1,225. The previous record for this book was set back in April of 2020 for $919. So this was a strong sale, up 30% from the prior record. Just a really strong sale, and I think this because of the current popularity of Matt Baker. Plus, these are quite hard to get, these Fox Feature Syndicate books. There's 45 on the census, and 44 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Next on the list, number 5 is Shocking Mystery Cases number 51. This is from Star Publications, 1952. It is a L.B. Cole cover, and it's a great one because it's got like a decapitated bloody head on the cover. It's very small, and it has like different like elements of horror on the cover. Very cool book because these were basically reprints, and L.B. Cole, being the very talented artist, he would basically take the reprints, put his own covers on them, and make them like very cool and very desirable. So people are buying these purely for the cover. And some of the L.B. Cole covers are some of the most desired books from the Golden Age. This was a 6.0 that sold, and it sold for $1,700. Now, the previous record was only set back in September of 2023 for $1,680. So it's up $20, but still a strong sale. It kind of confirms that previous sale, which actually was up quite considerably from the prior sale to that. I think it was up like 300% or something. So just this book has shown that it's stay steady at that high price. There's 60 of these on the census, and 60 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 4 on the list is Pep Comics number 8. It's from MLJ from 1940. It is a Irv Novick cover. And it's a great one because it's got a girl in a red dress, and she's going to get branded. They're like going with the hot poker or branding iron. They're going to brand her, and the Shield is coming in to save her. Now, the Shield was kind of MLJ's main protagonist, and he got replaced by Archie. So later, MLJ becomes Archie Comics once Archie becomes a main character in the series, which is after Pep 22. This is like early MLJ. Really great. Very hard to find these books. This was a 4.5 that sold, and it sold for $1,799. Now, this is a new record for this book because the previous record was set back in May of 2003, so long time ago. And it was, at that time, it sold for $235.35. So it's gone up a lot in the last 20 years. But, but if we want to compare it, this sale, we can look at the 4.0 that sold for $1,300 in September of 2020. And there was a 5.0 that sold for $1,002 in June of 2017. So you can see that this book doesn't really sell that often. So, I think when it's on the market, people just try to grab it. So this is a very strong sale for this book. Definitely up, even if you compare it to that 4.0, it's definitely up quite considerably. So there's 36 of these on the census, and 32 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 3 on the list is Famous Funnies number 211. This is from Eastern Color, 1954. It's a Frank Frazetta cover, and it's a Buck Rogers cover with a good girl art twist as well. So you got a little bit of everything. This one is just a classic Frazetta cover, and the Famous Funnies had like a little run of Frazetta covers, and all of them command big money. If you compare them to any of the other Famous Funnies, they pretty much stand out in terms of value. So a lot of collectors go after these books, especially the Buck Rogers ones. This was a 5.0 that sold, and it sold for $2,000, which is a massive record. The previous record in this grade was set back in May of 2016 for $406.30. Now, it's up 5 times from that previous record set 8 years ago. But if we want to compare it to something more recent, there was a 5.5 that sold for $1,000 in 2021, and there was a 4.0 that sold more recently in 2022 for $1,560. Now, if you compare it to the 4.0 price, the price per point kind of works out to being around $1,950. So this is really right in line with what you would expect a 5.0 to sell for. So a good sale, not a massive sale like you might have thought if by the rise of the price from 2016. But as I said, these Frazetta books have been really on fire lately, and a lot of collectors have been gravitating to them. So they just been going up crazily. I actually had an opportunity to buy a lot of these Frazetta ones fairly cheap. I still kick myself to this day because I really missed the boat on them. I didn't go for them, and they've gone up a lot since then. There's actually a lot of these on the census. Famous Funnies was massively printed, and there's 146 of these on the census, and 126 are blue labels. So just to give you a sense, that is a really high number for the Golden Age. Number 2 on the list is Blue Bolt number 115, or it's also known as Weird Tales 115. There's kind of a dual name for this because Blue Bolt was kind of switching over to Weird Tales at that time. Now this is from Star Publications, 1952. It is a L.B. Cole cover. It's one of his classic covers because it's this giant skull with this yellowish orange hair, and it's just a classic cover. And he actually reuses that skull motif on other covers, and it's just one of his classic covers that people chase after because it's really kind of this weird psychedelic skull. I don't know what else to say about it. But this was a 4.0 that sold, and it sold for $2,600. There's no previous sales in this grade that I can compare it to, but there was a 3.5 that sold for $2,250 in February of 2024, which would be worth, and if you do the price per point, would make a 4.0 worth around $2,571. So $2,600, kind of in line with what you would expect this book to sell for. So not a massive sale in terms of like going out of the boundaries of what people would expect for this book to sell for, but kind of in line with what you would expect. So kind of maybe some stability in the Golden Age finally. Last few weeks were pretty rough. This is a little bit better results. So there are 74 of these on the census, and 72 of them are universal blue labels. Next book on the list, number 1, might change your opinion about what I just said, but it's an interesting one. This is a Detective Comics number 73. It's from DC Comics, 1943. It's a Bob Kane cover, Jerry Robinson, and also, there's 3 artists involved, but Bob Kane did the pencils for it. And it's a classic cover. It's the first Scarecrow cover in the Golden Age and ever. His first cover appearance. And this book generally goes for more than actually his first appearance in comics goes for. Because his first appearance is like a baseball cover. People don't really go for it as much as this one, because this is a really great Scarecrow cover. Because he's prominent, he's kind of creepy, he's got money stuffed into his Scarecrow costume. It's a really cool Golden Age cover. And this is actually the only Scarecrow cover in the Golden Age. Very odd fact about Scarecrow, but it's his only Golden Age cover. This was a 5.0 that sold, and it sold for $7,183. Now that is actually down a lot. The previous record for this book was set back in June of 2023 for $10,800. So this is down like 30% from that prior record. So a massive drop. I think it just was, it was an eBay auction, and somebody just got a good deal on it. They were lucky. They got it for a great price. I think if it was on Heritage or somewhere where there's people with more money, I think it probably would have done better. So yeah, just an interesting one. There's 112 of these on the census, and 91 of them are universal blue labels. So that is the list. What did you think? Does this bode well for the Golden Age, where we're seeing a bit of stability in the market? What do you think about the prices? Would you like to have any of these books on the list? Don't steal my Nellies. I'm going to be chasing those as well. So I think there's some pretty cool comics on this list. What did you think? Put it in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.